So in the previous lecture, we have fixed the geometry of our foot over bridge, right? So this was the figure that we had drawn in the previous session. Now today we are going to start with the design of a first element, that is a cross beam. We are going to start with the design of this cross beams, right? So today we are going to do the design of cross beam, right, which is to be provided in my foot over bridge. So this is the figure that we are referring to. I am keeping it as it is just for your reference, right? So it will be easier for you to understand, right? Design of a cross beam. So first we need to find out loads that are acting on my cross beam. So first load will be coming from the slab, that is dead load due to slab. So first is dead load due to slab. So whatever slab is this, it is resting on this cross beam, right? So load due to slab on cross beam. So it is the depth of slab multiplied by density of concrete. So depth of slab given in the data is 110. So 0.11 multiplied by density of concrete given is 25. So if you calculate this, you will get your answer as 2.75 kilonewton per meter square. This is the dead load from slab that is acting on my cross beam. Next we have floor finish load. Second, floor finish. This is also given in the data, which is 0.75 kilonewton per meter square, right? 0.75. This is coming from the data directly. And then there is a live load also, third force. There is live load also, that is also given in the data. Live load is given as 5 kilonewton per meter square, right? So these are the three loads that are acting on my beam. If you make the summation of all these three, I get total as 8.5 kilonewton per meter square. So this much load is acting on my cross beams, right? Now next we need to see that how much width of slab is carried by one cross beam. Alright, suppose if I see this elevation, for this cross beam, how much width of slab will this be carrying, right? So it will be carrying half from this slab and half of the load from this slab, right? It will be carrying the load from half on both the sides. So it will be ultimately 3 meter. This distance will be 3 meter ultimately, right? So this much width of slab load that is being carried by the one cross beam. So we can write here width of slab carried by one cross beam is equal to 1.5 on either side, right? So it will be 3 meter. It is carrying the width of 3 meter. So therefore load per meter length of beam, so we can calculate easily load per meter length of beam. We can easily calculate load per meter length of beam. Load per meter length of beam, it will be equal to 3 meter multiplied by 8.5. 3 meter multiplied by 8.5. So this will give me the final value as 25.5 kilonewton per meter. 25.5 kilonewton per meter, and we can assume sulfate of beam as 0.5 kilonewton per meter. So we have assumed the sulfate of beam as 0.5. So my final total UDL value will be 26 kilonewton per meter. So total UDL will be 26 kilonewton per meter, that is acting on my beam. So next we need to factor this. So factored UDL, next I can calculate factored UDL. So factored UDL is multiplied by 1.5. 1.5 multiplied by 26. So it will be around 39, yes, 39 kilonewton per meter is my UDL that is to be carried by the beam, right? So once I get the UDL, I can draw the beam now. So now let me rub this for better understanding. So this figure I have kept just to make you understand how much load is to be transferred. How much load is to be transferred on my beam. So we got our factored UDL as 39 kilonewton per meter. So ultimately my beam will be like this. It will be a simply supported, having a UDL of 39 kilonewton per meter. The length of my this cross beam will be 4 meter. So now I can easily calculate the maximum factored moment, right? Maximum factored moment will be WL square by 8 for simply supported beam. So W is 39, L is 4, 39 into 4 square divided by 8. So I can get my maximum moment value as 78 kilonewton into meter. Then I can easily calculate maximum shear force also. This is, let us say, MP, and maximum shear force VP is WL by 2, 39 into 4 divided by 2. So I'll get this value as 78 kilonewton again. So VP and MP, moment and shear force, we calculated for this simply supported beam, right? Now this is a steel section, right? This is a steel section. So we need to calculate plastic section modulus ZP. We need to calculate plastic section modulus ZP. So ZP is equal to MP divided by Fy multiplied by gamma MO, right? For required plastic section modulus, required plastic section modulus ZP is equal to MP divided by Fy multiplied by gamma MO, right? So moment we already calculated 78 into 10 raised to 6. Fy is 415 and this gamma MO is 1.1. Right, gamma MO is 1.1. This is given in IS 800 2007. This value is per IS 800 2007. So if you solve this, you will get your required plastic section modulus 343,200 mm cube. 343,200 mm cube. So convert this into centimeter cube, because if you see the steel table, the plastic section modulus values are given in centimeter cube. This is the required value. So 343.2 centimeter cube is the plastic section modulus required. 343.2 centimeter cube is the plastic section modulus required. So now what we are supposed to do? We are supposed to go to your steel table and select a channel section. Select a channel section for beam that has a plastic section modulus around this value, more than this value, right? So let's go to the steel table. Alright, so we need to see the steel table, right, with the ZP required value. So either you can see the steel table or you can see IS 800 2007 and page number 139. You can go to page number 139, IS 800 2007. You can find the steel table over there also. Let us go to both things one by one. So first I'll be showing you the IS code page for number 139. From there you can select the values which are ZP values, right? So just a second. Alright, so this is the page number 139, table number 46. As you can see on your screen, I have marked a member which is having section modulus. This is the section modulus value which I am highlighting. I hope you are able to see that. So for that IS LB 275 value, the section modulus value I am getting as 392.4, right? 392.4 centimeter cube. Now as you can see above that IS LC 300, it is having 403, which is much higher than required. Required is 343.2, right? So we can also go for IS HB also, right? So based on this we can select a section which is having section modulus value higher than the required value, that is 343.2. So I am selecting ISLB 275. Now I need to note down all the important properties which are given here, like weight per meter, section area, depth of section, width of section, thickness of plane, thickness of web, radius of gyration, plastic section modulus, and shape factor, right? So I'll note down all the things from this page number. So let's do that, and I'll move it back to the board. Alright, so page number 139 of IS 800 2007. We are trying first section, right? This is not the final design. This is trial and error method. This is trial and error. So first I am trying the section, try ISLB 275. Try ISLB 275. The weight that is given on that page number is 330 Newton per meter. 330 Newton per meter. So now I note down the important properties, that is the depth is 275, D is 275 mm. Then I have thickness of plane, that is BF 140 mm. BF is equal to 140 mm. Then I have thickness of plane, that is 8.8 mm TF. Please refer that 139 page number. Then TW is 6.4. After that, what else? I have IZZ, that is 5375. Into 10 raised to 6, no, 10 raised to 4. 10 raised to 4 mm raised to 4. And ZP, I have, sorry, before that radius of gyration R is 14 centimeter, and I have plastic section modulus for this section, which is 443.09 centimeter cube. 443.09 centimeter cube, right? So which is greater than the ZP required, which is greater than required. Therefore we can select this section, therefore it is okay, and we can select this section, right? So once the section is selected, we need to check, right? We need to check whether this section is of we need to classify the section first, whether it is plastic, semi-plastic, right? So let's do that quickly. Section classification. Once the section is selected, we need to classify the section, right? So section classification. Okay, for section classification, we need to refer IS 800 2007, table number 2, page number 18. So IS 800 2007, page number 18, and table number is 2. This we need to refer, right? So first, before referring, we need to find out the epsilon, that is square root of 250 divided by Fy. So epsilon is equal to square root of 250 divided by Fy is 250 given in the data, so ultimately my epsilon value will be 1. This formula is given in the table, we'll see that, right? So first we are going to check it for flange. We are going to check it for flange, whether it is plastic, semi-plastic or compact. So we need to check the ratio of B divided by TF. B divided by TF. So B we have as 140. 140 divided by thickness of flange is 8.8. So we get this value as 7.95. Right? Then we need to check it for the web also. So for web we need to check the ratio of D divided by TW. For web we need to check the ratio of D divided by TW. Right? We need to check the ratio of D divided by TW. So in the depth I need to deduce the width of flange. Right? So suppose if I draw the I section here, because we have selected an I. So this is my I section. Overall depth I have got as 275. This is 140. Right. This thickness flange TF is 8.8 and thickness of this is given as 6.4. Right. So when I consider web, I need to take only this much height. So this is the height of web. So it will be 275 minus 2 into 8.8 minus radius of gyration, right? So 275 minus 2 into 8.8 minus 14. 14 is my radius of gyration R, right? Radius of gyration R, and this again multiplied by 2. Why we do this? Because in practice this angle is not 90 degree, right? There is some curvature provided at both the ends, at top and bottom, right? At top and bottom. So there is some radius of curvature, so we are considering that part also here, right? So please take care of that. Divide by TW, thickness of web is 6.4. So this we get our answer as 35.84. 35.84. Now let us go to the code and understand this stuff, that how these values are coming. So I'll open IS 800 2007 now and share it with you. So this is IS 800 2007 already opened, and we need to go to page number 18. So let's quickly go to a page number 18 now and see the page number 18. Yes, here it is. So this is page number 18, table number 2, limiting width of to thickness ratio, right? Based on this we can classify our section. So this first formula that we have used, epsilon is equal to 250 divided by Fy, which is written here in note number 2. Epsilon is equal to 250 divided by Fy raised to 1 by 2. Right? Now we have a I section here, right? So for an I section, you can see the compression element here, then there are ratios, then there are classification. So out of this, there is for this area we need to refer web of an I H box, right? And so you can refer this first one is outstanding element of compression flange. Outstanding element of compression flange, right? So first let us refer for flange. We are calculating first for flange, right? So this is outstanding element of compression flange. In that we have two different sections, rolled section and welded section, or third one and two sections, rolled and that one, right? So in that ratio we need to take B divided by TF, B divided by TF. So out of these two, let us assume that we are using the rolled section. So for this, if your ratio is within any of this value, that will be your classification. So if you see our answer, we are getting our answer for B by TF as 7.95, which is less than 9.4 epsilon, Therefore your section can be classified as plastic in flange. Similarly for web, now we need to see this part. For web we are going to consider compression due to bending. And now we are going to consider for web, just a second, web of a channel. Alright, for web we are going to consider D by TW, right? D by TW ratio. Here it is, D by TW ratios are there. Alright, so that ratio we are getting for web as 35.84. The ratio for web we are getting as 35.84, which is less than 84 epsilon. First one, neutral axis at mid depth. Right, for neutral axis at mid depth, we are considering that neutral axis is at mid depth. So for that, if your ratio is less than 84 epsilon, as you can see here, our answer is 35.4. So therefore again it is coming under plastic. So if both the flange and web ratio are plastic, hence the section is classified as plastic. So let me repeat again. In the first we have seen for rolled section, B by TF is less than 9.4 epsilon, and for second web we have seen the neutral axis at mid depth, D by TW, and compared it with the 84 epsilon. So it was again plastic. So our both the sections are plastic, so hence the whole section is classified as plastic. So let's go back to the board and write it down. So therefore the section is classified as plastic. So this is less than 9.4 epsilon and this is less than 84 epsilon. Therefore section is classified as plastic section. Alright, so now once the section is classified as plastic, then we need to check for moment capacity. So let's quickly check for moment capacity now. Now this all the steps are we are going as per the IS 800, right? So first check for moment capacity, right? So this is again given in the IS 800 2007, clause number 8.1.2, page number 53. Clause number 8.2.1.2, page number 53. So if you see this page number, we have design bending strength MD, design bending strength. This formula is there for MD. MD is equal to beta B ZP Fy, beta B multiplied by ZP multiplied by Fy divided by gamma MO, right? So in this, beta B is 1 for plastic section, right? This beta B is 1 for plastic section. ZP we already have the value for the section, which is 443.09 into 10 raised to 3 multiplied by 443.09 into 10 raised to 3. Fy is 250 we have, and divided by 1.1. So I get this answer as 100.7 into 10 raised to 6, 100.07 into 10 raised to 6 Newton into mm. If I convert this into kilonewton to meter, which will be 100.07 kilonewton into meter. So this is greater than 78 kilonewton into meter. This is greater than MP that we have found out in the previous calculations. So what does this means? Moment carrying capacity. This means that whatever section we have selected, it can carry moment up to 100 kilonewton per meter. And how much moment is coming due to the loading? Which is 78, right? This is 78 kilonewton into meter. So the capacity is higher than the actual loading. Therefore, it is considered as safe. Therefore, it can be considered as safe. Right? So we need to see page number 53, clause number 8.2.1.2. And one more check that we need to do is check for shear capacity, right? Check for shear capacity. So again we need to go to IS 800 2007, I hope all of you are having this IS code with you, right? I'll show you the IS code formula also once we complete this step. So next we need to go to check for shear capacity. Again IS 800 2007, page number 59, clause number 8.4 and 8.4.1. Clause number 8.4, 8.4.1, page number 59. So you can find the formula over there. VD is equal to AV divided by AV into FYW. Shear force, design shear force is equal to AV multiplied by FYW divided by root 3 into gamma MO. I think this is the formula. Yes, right. So AV, what is AV? How we can get the AV? It is the area of the web, right, which carries the shear force. So let me draw an I section over here. Suppose this is my I section. So this vertical element is mainly going to carry the shear force, right? This part is not going to carry any shear force. So we need to take the effective area of the element which is going to carry the shear force. So AV is the area of that part. So that will be 275 multiplied by thickness. Thickness of that thickness of web was 6.4. So multiply by 6.4 multiplied by 250 divided by root 3 multiplied by 1.1, gamma MO is 1. So if you calculate this value, this will be 230940 Newton. 230940 Newton. 230940 Newton. So if I convert this into kilonewton, it will be 230.94 kilonewton. 230.94 kilonewton is the value. Now I need to take 60% of this. So 0.6 of VD. So 0.6 multiplied by 230.94. So 60% will be around 138.56 kilonewton. 138.56 kilonewton, which is again greater than VP, which was 78 kilonewton. So again here this means that our section can carry shear force up to 138.56 kilonewton, and the actual shear force that is acting on our section due to the loading is 78 kilonewton. Therefore this can be termed as safe, and we can use the selected section as per the for the application of as cross beam in our foot over bridge. So this is how you do the design of a cross beam. Now let us see the IS code provisions for these two checks. So let me just share the IS 800 2007 with you. Right, so first is check for moment capacity, that is given on page number 53. So let's go to page number 53 first and see we get the same formula or not. Yes, 8.2.1.2, this is the clause here. Let me just zoom in a bit so that it is visible clearly. Yes, this one, 8.2.1.2. So MD is equal to this formula, beta B into ZP into Fy divided by gamma MO, right? To avoid irreversible deformation under serviceability loads, MD shall be less than 1.2 ZE Fy divided by gamma MO. In case of simply supported, and for cantilevers it is 1.5 ZE Fy divided by gamma MO. But we are not going into that because we got the values. Alright, so next the beta B is 1 for plastic, this is also coming from there, right? Then what else? The gamma MO is partial safety factor, we can see from table number or clause number 5.4.1, right? So this is the formula that is used for calculation of the moment capacity. Then next we do the calculation for the shear capacity which is given on page number 59. So let's go to page number 59 and check for the shear capacity also. The formula is there. You need not to remember any formulas in steel design. So here we are on page number 59. Yes, for shear, clause number 8.4, right? So in this, V should be less than VD, where VD is the design strength. So design strength is given by Vn divided by gamma MO, right? You will not find exact formula that we have seen. It is a combination of two formulas. So first is Vn divided by gamma MO. Now what is Vn? So Vn is equal to Vp, and Vp value is AV into FYW divided by root 3. Now if you substitute this value in this equation Vn divided by gamma MO, you will get the equation that we have used, right? So ultimately Vd will be equal to AV into FYW divided by root 3 gamma MO, right? And so this is AV is the shear area that we have taken. Now that 60% clause, we need to use 60% of this, was there on the same page number 53. So let's go to 53. Why we did 60%? So that is given on the page number 53, and that is here, right? Alright, so when the factored design shear force does not exceed 0.6 VD, where VD is the desired shear strength of cross section, right? So if this case is there, only this when this formula is applied, right? So when the design shear force VD exceeds 0.6 VD, where VD is the design bending strength, MD shall be taken as, there is a separate formula if the criteria is not satisfied, right? So for our case, the criteria is satisfied. 0.6 times VD is less than the shear force acting in the section. So using these two clauses, that is on page number 53 and page number 59, our section is safe against moment and safe against shear, right? So this is how we can solve the example with the help of IS 800-2007. And with this, we conclude the session here, and we'll see you in the next session. Thank you so much for joining.